Hi everybody, welcome back to Charmed Intuition Tarot. So for today's video, I thought we would do something different. We're going to do a few little deck flip throughs and we're going to go through in depth into a few of the charms that I have, okay? So I chose 6 really unique decks that I really enjoy working with, whether it be for personal readings here where I live or on YouTube. So yeah, we'll just get started. So I wanted to show you the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot. And you would recognize this from my mermaid video that I did. And this deck is absolutely gorgeous. So I'll show you the box too. It comes in this really nice, sturdy box and it's got a magnetic closure. And I love a really good quality tarot box because I always hold on to them. I like to keep most decks in their original boxes. But I also have this treasure chest that you saw from that video that I will keep the deck in from time to time. Usually it's in here, unless I'm traveling with it. Okay, so I'll just do a quick little flip through here. So this is the backing, and it's a matte cardstock. It's very nice. And the cards do have borders, but it's a very thin border. I just really like when the artwork is the focal point and there's not much borders. The Sun card is one of my favorites in this deck. I love it. 6 of Pentacles. So I just really love the artwork. The colors are absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. I love how it says ha 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 there. The Fool cards. That's so cute. But the colors are really beautiful. And it's just a very, I don't know, it's just, it follows the Rider-Waite system fairly closely. So the original tarot that most of you are familiar with. But she's definitely got her own spin on things and it's just easy to work with. The colors are very soft and beautiful. She does have a few different versions of this deck where a few of the cards have changed over time. This would be the latest version. I love the 4 of Pentacles. Moon is gorgeous too. I love this World card. So yeah, I really enjoy this deck. People that I use it on really seem to love the imagery. It's just very beautiful. I really have no complaints. I love the gilded edges. I think that's really special. I love that they're matte cards. It's my absolute favorite. I will always take matte over glossy. But they're just really nice. They're thicker cardstock, so I have small hands, so it can be sometimes challenging to shuffle, but I manage. They're really nice. I definitely recommend it. And I love the backing. Like, to me, that's so beautiful, just the pigments. So that's the first one. Now the second one is called the Dark Mansion Tarot. Okay, so this is the backing, and this one has different versions. So there's an extra large version, and it has like a jewel in the middle. But I really liked this backing and the size of these cards. And this has matte black edging too, which I love so much. I've never edged my own cards. I've thought about it, but I'm too afraid of making a mistake. So I'll just show you some of these. So this artwork reminds me a lot of Nightmare Before Christmas. It's got that Tim Burton sort of style to it, which I really like. Look at this selfish looking character there with the 4 of Pentacles. We've got 4 of Wands. So the artwork is very reminiscent of the Nightmare Before Christmas. I really like it. I love that Wheel of Fortune card. The Ferris wheel, that's so clever. And this is a matte cardstock as well. And this one is bordered, but I love it. Like, I don't mind borders when they're, like, this feels like it's really part of the artwork. And this also follows Rider-Waite style. It's the artist has put their sort of own interpretation into the artwork, but the meanings are very closely similar. I think this would be a nice beginner deck too. I find for beginner decks, I like ones that tell a story. They have a lot of artwork that you can sort of just look at and figure out what's happening. And it helps you tell a story. Oh, that devil card. Look at those little guys. Ten of Pentacles. So nice. I love that Eight of Wands, that's so cute. Yeah, so, and this, as far as cardstock goes, it's that nice matte cardstock. It's not quite as thick as the Dame Darcy, I would say. Pretty close, not quite though. And it's fairly easy to shuffle. I find, you know, it's, depending on your hand size, you could probably rifle shuffle with these too. Okay, and the box I'll show you for that one is right here. Another really sturdy box. And this is the regular edition, like I said, so they have like a limited edition version. It comes in this nice wooden box, and the cards are quite large. I thought about getting that one, but I really did like the backings of this card the best. But I strongly recommend this deck. This is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so next we have the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. And I used this in my last pick a card, I think, and everybody really enjoyed this. It's also a matte deck. This is borderless. And this one very closely follows the Rider-Waite Smith imagery. Pretty much exact. It's a clone, I would say, except with unicorns. But this is adorable. I really like the lettering that they chose. I love the color scheme. It's just very soft pastels. Even some of the more serious cards are fairly cute. So I think if you were somebody just getting into tarot, like for instance this Death card, it's not very ominous looking, but it does sort of tell the story of the Death card and what it's supposed to mean with the basic imagery. So this would be, I think, an excellent beginner deck, or just a nice deck for somebody who wants more gentle imagery. Even the Tower card, which is sort of a unpleasant card, you know, they've done it in a way that it doesn't look so frightening, but still sort of captures the meaning of the Tower card. I love that Hermit. Look how cute. The lettering I just love. And the backings. So this you could read reversal on these if you read reversals. I tend to not read reversals. On occasion I will. If I feel called to, I'll read a reversal, but typically I don't. And the first two decks I showed also would read reversals just because of the backings. But the next deck I'm going to review wouldn't, so. So this deck, the box is really adorable too. Okay, so a nice sturdy little tuck box. But I don't keep it in this. I keep it in the bag that my great-grandmother actually sewed. Now, the reason I keep it in there is because my great-grandmother loved unicorns. She collected unicorn figurines, everything in her condo. She had tons of unicorn like pictures and things like that. So she made this, and inside I keep a picture of her, and I keep a little note from her. So I like to keep this deck in there because it just sort of reminds me of her with the unicorns. And it's a nice matte deck, easy to shuffle. And the artwork is by Lisa Higuchi, and the tarot deck itself is by Pamela Chen. Just going back here, so we've got, just so I can make sure I credit the authors here and the illustrators, we've got Dame Darcy was the Mermaid Tarot, and for the Dark Mansion, let's see here. I don't know. Oh, okay. Illustrated by Magdalena Caxen. I hope I said that right. And production is by Taroteca Studio. Okay, so very nice. Okay, moving on to my all-time go-to favorite deck of all time. This is just my absolute favorite. Now this one wouldn't read reversals because of the imagery, so you would know if a card was reversed or not, but what I really like about this deck, now this is slightly glossier than, say, this deck. Okay, this is more of a matte cardstock. This has a bit of a gloss to it, but not overly. But what I love about this deck is the imagery. Now, some of my best friends who are watching, hello, will use this deck and they've never read tarot and they can read tarot with this deck. I think anyone can read tarot. I don't possess any, in my opinion, I don't believe I have any ability that you don't have. I think as long as you're intuitive and you can sort of use these cards and read it intuitively, I think anybody can read tarot, okay? Just as a side note. Because my friends will read with it and say, oh, well, I don't read tarot, but like, yeah, you can, anyone, I think anyone can read tarot. I love the imagery here. I find it really easy to read with. I use this one a lot for people that are sort of maybe a little bit nervous to have their cards read, because the imagery really explains what the card means. Okay, so for instance, this Four of Cups. So he's sort of dwelling on a situation right now, and he's feeling really unsatisfied, perhaps a little bit bored, and he's missing out on an opportunity here. And there's lots of imagery. You could really sort of look into the cards and sort of come up with your own interpretation sometimes. Like the Seven of Swords, this person's obviously taking something that doesn't belong to them. They're being quite sneaky. Looks like they've snuck in here. This World card is one of my favorite World cards of all the World cards that I've ever seen. I love it. This is an excellent deck, I think, for beginners. I think anyone would really enjoy reading with this deck. It's my favorite. And this deck I've had for quite a while, and it has worn really well. Like, it's a little older looking now, just because I've brought it pretty much everywhere with me. And the other thing about this deck is it's got a really nice box. So it's got, now this card is by this deck is by Deborah Blake, and the art is by Elizabeth Elba, and I love her artwork. And it's just a really nice quality box. It looks really nice on a shelf. And the guidebook is one of the best guidebooks I have ever seen for a tarot deck. I absolutely love it. There's full color illustrations. This is a nice guidebook just to sit down and read. I really like the interpretations. They have a space to make notes if you're just learning. And this, I mean, all of my decks pretty much closely follow the Rider-Waite-Smith system, so this one's good for that as well. And it's nice to shuffle. It's a really nice, easy to shuffle deck. Okay, and I just really love it. I love the backs. Everyone who I read for with this deck really enjoys the images. And like I said, my friends who have never picked up tarot before will use this deck and be able to do a reading on me, and I think they do a really good job. I really love that Hermit card. And when people ask me for a recommendation of a first tarot deck, this is the one I always recommend. This is my favorite. I love it. So I highly recommend this one. Okay, so next we have the Tarot Fauna by Devin Strickler. And the artist is Brittany Burkhardt, and this is one of my all-time favorites too. The box is really nice as well. I think that is the world card that they put on the inside. But very pretty box. And this deck is gorgeous. The artwork, and it's slightly glossy. It's a thinner cardstock, but it's still really sturdy. It's really nice to shuffle. I love this deck. The backings are gorgeous. You could read reversals with this one quite easily. So what Devin's done is all of the torches are foxes, so that would be the wands. All of the feathers, which are swords, would be an owl. Okay, some more swords. So the Ace of Rocks would be the pentacles, and for pentacles she's chosen to use bears. So the Four of Swords. So they've changed the names here. So look at, I like these too. So you've got the perspective here. The sun and the moon are really nice. Ten of Wands. And then all of the major arcana have their own animal. Judgment, we've got the spider. So we've got the wands were foxes. Look at that hermit card, how cute. What am I missing? We had the pentacles, the wands, the swords. Oh, the cups, okay. Now the cups, she's used otters. Let me just find a cup card here. Oh, shells. Okay, so she's used shells for cups, and the animal are otters for those. But they're just really beautiful cards, lovely to work with. The colors are gorgeous. I really like using this one in the summer. The creator of this deck is also very friendly. She has a Instagram page. She's very nice. Oh, I love that world card so much. Look how beautiful. So yeah, this is a really nice card or deck for, I think, anyone. And she's added, this is the cool thing, she's added a few of her own cards to it as well. And I believe you can download the guidebook. She sends like a PDF file, but mindfulness. So she's included some of her own cards to the deck. In this deck, even though it's animals, it captures emotion. So I just want to show you, like, you can really sense the emotion that these animals are feeling here. Like, this one breaks my heart. Look at that. You can just see the anxiety there. Like, this one, she's really captured the emotion in the animals. Two of Shells is cute. King of Pentacles. So yeah, it's a really nice deck. Really smooth to shuffle. I really enjoy the backings. I really like using this one in the summer. Okay, so the 6th deck for my choices here is a really cute deck, and this is called the Housewives Tarot. You guys saw this in both of my 50s themed videos, which I love to do. And what I love about this deck is it comes in a recipe box. And the guidebook that it comes with, it's just one of these tiny guidebooks, but it's really cute. It's got some keywords, and it's got its own sort of interpretations. And it's just a fun deck. It's just sort of like a cheeky, sort of entertaining deck. It's just sort of a lighthearted deck, but it's really fun to use. I really like the imagery on it. I love that it's a little recipe box. And what's really cute is so the little dividers in the box actually have recipes. So, and look at divinated eggs, icebox fortune cake, Madame Marlena's mystical martini. So it's really cute. I really love the packaging. I really like the extra details that this creator went into making this deck. And if you're familiar with the Zombie Tarot, which I will be reviewing at a later date, it's the same creators, I believe, and they did sort of a similar style with that deck as well. So this is really cute, and I can't wait to show you guys this. Okay, so this deck is quite a bit different in size, I would say, than, well, not quite a bit, I guess. It's a little exaggeration there, but it feels a lot smaller when you're shuffling it. And I think any difference for me makes a big difference, like any difference in size, just because of my hands being so small. But when you look at this deck, so the major arcana cards are bordered in black, the cups are in blue, wands are in like this goldy sort of mustardy color, swords are in red, and the pentacles are green. Okay, and it just sort of sticks to that 1950s style artwork that I love so much. And it's just a lot of fun. People really get a kick out of this deck. I've brought this one to parties. People really find it quite entertaining and fun to look at. How cute. I really love this imagery. And look at the devil card. I crack up. Look at this. I just think that's so fun. Like vice, cigarettes. So it's just, you know, addictions and or vices. Four of Swords. So this deck, I really recommend this one. This one's a lot of fun. The lovers, look how cute. And they're really clever. The ones they chose for the major arcana are so clever. The imagery is so cute. This looks like Danny from Greece to me. Comment if you agree. Look at this, the death card, Salmonella. Sorry, I should have put these in order. I do use these ones quite a bit, so they're sort of mixed up. And I thought about putting them in order for this video, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of some of the cards. I wasn't going to get into every card, because personally, when I look at deck reviews, I like to be surprised when I receive a deck. Now, these backings, it's a semi-matte deck. It's got a little bit of a gloss to it, a little bit of a sheen, not much. The borders I don't mind in this deck. I think they really add something. And the back looks like a tablecloth or like a picnic blanket, or just sort of that cute sort of checkered 50s style temperance. And this deck very closely follows the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. Not the imagery so much, I should say, but the meanings. Pretty closely. There are some little differences, but the meanings, like obviously the imagery is quite different, but the meanings are pretty much the same. Look how cute. Lemonade. So I love this deck. I would highly recommend all of these decks. And I just wanted to go through a few charms with you guys just for fun. I'm just gonna raise these up. So I've been seeing a lot of people using charms, which is so awesome. Because again, I can't stress this enough. I didn't invent these. This is something that existed before I did it. Okay. Okay, so I just thought I would show you some of my favorites. I took out the letters and the sort of bigger charms. So some of these ones, like, I want to show you some of my new, these ones are sort of newer. And I got these at a craft store and these are so cute. So these are some newer ones to my collection. This I've had since I was little, and I sort of look at this charm as almost like this Seven of Swords type imagery. And I also used, I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, there's some Monopoly pieces, so that's a good place to start too. If you have an old Monopoly game that you're not using, the pieces from there make great charms. This was a button from something I had when I was young. This was one of my first pieces in my set. There's also a lot of Cracker Jack pieces. So those old Cracker Jack toys that you would get, and you get little prizes. So a lot of these charms are way older than I am. This was off of a necklace from a friend. Thank you. I know she's watching. Bobbin. I got this from a little antique store, actually. You can find a lot of miniatures at thrift stores and antique stores. There's some buttons here that I've had for a long time. Little scissors. These were a new addition this year, actually, when I started my channel. These little words. And this came from just like a craft set. This was one of my original pieces a few years ago. Little worry doll. Bottle caps. One of my favorite charm casters uses bottle caps, actually. Her name is Mahogany Star Power. I'll link her channel below. And I found her channel and was super excited because she's, I think, that I know of, one of the only ones on YouTube, like, she does solely charms. I think she occasionally uses cards too, but she really focuses on charms. And I really like her set. It's really unique. I really like the way she casts charms. I was really excited to find her channel. And again, if you type in charm casting on YouTube, you're going to find a lot of resources of how to put a set together. Little Eiffel Tower. And what's cool about charms is sometimes, like, the charms have meanings that are sort of my interpretation. So when I see a lighthouse, I think of hope and sort of hanging in there when you're experiencing a challenge. But then someone might watch my video and say, wow, I have a lighthouse near my house. So feel free when I'm doing my readings to really look at the charms and if something might have personal significance to you. So for example, one of the readings I did, I had the boxing glove. And when I see this, I think of, you know, being strong, fighting for what you believe in. But the person that I did the reading for actually boxes as a hobby, so she found some of her own significant meaning in that. This is another one of my original pieces. It's a little Coca-Cola bottle. And like, my original set was quite a bit smaller. My set grew a lot this year when I started doing my channel. Like, before I started doing my channel, I went out and got like the little words and things like that, but the diary, I love this. This is a really old charm too. Opens and closes. So sometimes if it lands opened, I'll think of like being honest about your feelings, and if it closes, I think of being sort of closed up, closed off. And the faces, so I'm sure you've seen these. I use these as significators. So oftentimes in general readings, I won't focus so much on these if I pull them. You might have noticed. But in a personal reading, I might. So I have two of each. I have two girls and two boys. Sorry, let me just find one here. Okay, here we go. So, you know, if one lands this way and this one, like, it could sort of signify, like, if you're, say, in an argument with somebody, or so if this lands and the worry doll lands on it, I might say, okay, there's a woman in your life having anxiety, or if this signifies you, maybe you're having anxiety. Or if the lightning bolt lands, I might think, oh, you just had a really good idea. Or, you know, you could really, it kind of depends where they land as well. That's the other thing about charms. This is another newer one. The hot air balloon, I look at as perspective, seeing things from a different point of view. This came off of a necklace. And then I've also got the star, like your signs here. We've got Aries and Cancer. So like these are really great significators too. Significators. Sorry, I hope I said that right. I love this charm in the hand. So when I see this, I oftentimes think of holding on to the past or holding on to something really tight. I think of this as lending a helping hand. And it also, again, depends where it lands. So this might land with the sunflower and the woman charm. So then I might think, okay, there's a woman in your life who wants to help you become more optimistic. Do you see what I mean? You can really get creative with it. This was just made for me recently. I really appreciate it. She made me a few charms. She gave me a few charms for my collection. Lots of animal charms. And animal charms will have different significance to people depending on their view of that animal, or sometimes their culture might have different views of certain animals. So it's really going to be personal. Charm casting is completely personal. Your set's going to be completely different than mine. Very unique. But if you haven't yet, I definitely encourage you, go around the house and try and find some pieces. Anybody can do it. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's really fun to put together and sort of interpret different meanings. So what I did, I don't have a notebook here, but what you could do, just as an example, here's one. So I have this notebook. So you could take a notebook as you're finding your charms, sort of. So say you found a sunflower, so then go into your book and write down sunflower and then the meanings. So you can really make it personal. Okay guys, so that's it for today. If you enjoyed this sort of different video, definitely let me know. I really had a lot of fun just walking through a few decks with you. If you'd like to see more of this, I'd absolutely be willing to do that. I've got more decks that I'd love to review with different themes. So we can do that for sure. And I'll have a pick card probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Thanks so much. Bye.